Yes. Yeah, what's your P's and Q's? Let's make sure everyone's on. Oh, yes, now you've got a sun background.
It's from a satellite that's going towards us. It's taking pictures of Venus at the moment, but on its journey, it is a really good high-res shot of the sun. And I thought that'd be beautiful.
It looks absolutely brilliant.
When you zoom in, you can actually see the first man on the sun. He's still going, oh shit!
I can imagine it. So everybody, I don't know why, but some people have swapped places. So I'm just putting you back.
I'll swap.
I like to swap.
That would be. I always say this, but it'll be so cool one day that actually get up and move to each other's camera.
The Brady Bunch that did that was sat swapping around the cells on the screen.
Yeah, and sort of like look up.
Looking down.
Did you ever see the young ones when they did University Challenge?
Yeah.
And they sort of like put them one above each other. The young ones were on the top and they were kicking down.
That's right.
Kicking them below.
And the spotty teens.
And this, sorry, if you don't live, you probably don't even know, Captain and Mr. Pickles, you probably don't know who the young ones are.
You'll have to explain it for Captain Kangaroo.
There were.
Have you heard of a show called Bottom? No.
That's a different kind of show here. It's on MTV and it's mostly just a lot of shaking butts.
I'm not even sure whether or not the young ones would be on. There was a group of them that sort of like they were acting out as students, and one was a hippie, one was a punk. One was sort of like a womanizer, and then the other one was a geeky person who was into all the uppercut.
Rick Mayall's one, yeah.
Yeah, sort of like, I'm CND, I'm this and that. And it was sort of like them living together, but it was just...
Hello, man. No.
Yeah.
Didn't he release a song called "There's a Hole in My Shoe"?
Yeah. My mom banned it from the house. She just said it was not suitable, But I think I enjoy it more looking back and watching it now than I would have. It's a bit like Spitting Image.
Yeah, very Monty Python-esque as well.
Yeah, very alternative comedy. I think it was, and then I think things like. Five Goes to Dorset, which was, they all came together and made fun of films. They did sort of like parodies of films, which were superb to watch. They sort of like linked up with Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders. Have you seen Ab Fab? Do you know Ab Fab?
Ab Fab, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous, yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. It was just so funny. I loved it. Okay, hello and welcome back. Welcome back. We had and we were joking, Captain, that you were killing off the assassins that were attacking.
I didn't kill them. I did maim a few of them, but some of them survived. Yeah.
I don't know what a redneck is, by the way. People use it all the time.
Our neighbors.
Yeah.
No.
Is that their surname then?
No, the rednecks.
Yeah.
It's just a class of white trash individual. They love guns and whichever church they've chosen, and they love America, but they hate Americans.
Yeah, they hate non-white Americans probably.
What
Coors Light
was Donald Trump?
Actually, yeah, that's all.
Oh, Donald Trump wasn't a redneck. He just had redneck followers.
Oh, right.
Yeah. You remember that film years ago called Redneck Revenge? Or Redneck Rampage, Redneck Revenge?
No.
And he went around a farm with a shotgun shooting things.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like my town.
Is it safe to Google that, the name?
I guess just don't put in a word afterwards, like redneck orgy. I don't know.
I mean, it's not like it's a slur or anything. It's a proper description.
Yeah, a working class white person from southern United States, especially a politically reactionary one.
Yeah, that sounds about.
Yeah.
Oh, except
that they're all over the United States. They're just
You wouldn't have seen Top Gear, would you, Immels, where they go to America
The what?
Yeah, no, I know. I very much know about Top Gear. Top Gear was semi-popular here.
Well, they wrote gay and things on people's on their own cars.
Their cars,
and then when you go put petrol, and the woman at the petrol station, you better get out of here. I'm going to get the boys. And they chase them off. Yeah, and then stop film and just fly off down the motorway,
do they
freeway,
play,
whatever.
Do they play Jews harps?
No.
I don't know what a Jew's harp is. Like think of banjo player. Think of the
harmonica.
Think of the movie.
And a Jewish harp that they go
Deliverance.
Deliverance, exactly. Think of Deliverance.
Redneck is a derogatory term, chiefly but not exclusively applied to white Americans perceived to be grass and unsophisticated.
I mean, if they're drunkenly breaking cinder blocks as a form of entertainment at 6 a.m., you have to use some sort of term just to angrily be like, can you be quiet?
Here's the thing: I don't think it's a derogatory term, because if you tell them, "Hey, is this a derogatory term?" they'll say, "I don't know what that means."
No.
Somebody at the chat just put Southern United States, but not Miami, Florida. No. That's mostly New Cuba.
Or
pretty much,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
we retired down here.
Do you know, this stream is not just an entertainment, it's an education as well.
We teach every day, every time.
I seriously learned so much. It's unbelievable. Hello and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to M Space, which is the science fiction version of the fantasy game of Mithras. So the M stands for Mithras, so technically it's Mithras Space.
Mithras in space!
Yeah, I should put that on the intro or something, shouldn't I? So yeah, what we do with this group is that we do 2 adventures with fantasy, and then we swap and do 2 adventures with sci-fi. And this... sorry, Captain Kangaroo is spot on, and I'm born and raised in Miami, so I can say that. So yeah, and so we're coming to the end of, I think this is part 5 of the series of adventures, or the overall adventure that was called It's a Bug Hunt. And we're getting close to the end, and we're sort of like trying to figure out how to make sure that the party meets the terms of their employers and stay alive. That's basically where we're at. I will provide you a quick synopsis about what has happened in a moment, but first I'm going to allow the players an opportunity to say who they are and tell us a bit about the character that they play. And we're going to start off with, as always, with Mr. Pickles.
I am Mr. Pickles, and I play Zach Numen, who is our team's tough guy. He's very much a physical character. He doesn't know much about science, whereas the other characters know a lot about science and people. Numen is just this muscle-bound guy who's obsessed with the law. He was an ex-law enforcer, so a lot of the skills he brings to the table are things like streetwise. He's got a little bit of sleight of hand. He's got some combat abilities, but he's mostly physical in nature. He's the one who can dig up a bunch of sand angrily and make it so we can drive a bomb off into the desert. He has some knowledge skills, but it's mostly just relating to the law. As I said, he has a few contacts that are off planet that he's able to text a lot, but we all have contacts. His are mostly journalists and, well, a journalist and some military people.
What's your shotgun called?
I was just getting to my weapons. His favorite weapon is the shotgun, and he has the Bloody Snail shotgun. It's a little in-universe brand I decided to make, I guess. The advertisement goes that you shoot them and their legs fly off, and they're only able to crawl away, leaving a trail of blood. Numen also uses a revolver and a stun baton when things are a little bit less violent. But when things get bad, like there's crab mites crawling everywhere, Numen pulls out the shotgun, just starts a blasting. And with that, I'm going to throw the mic over to our captain, Captain Medivac.
Why, thank you, sir. I'm Medivac, and I played James Minsk, And pretty much I'm the opposite of Numen. I'm not physical. I believe that every situation can be solved with talking.
Diplomacy.
Yeah, diplomacy,
you said-
loving.
I thought you said porking then.
Talking, that's a different film.
Not wrong though. No.
No, definitely not wrong. If that doesn't work, there's always a little sneaky blaster shot where I have a little holdout blaster that I'll shake you with one hand, it'll pop out in the other, and it may hit you because I'm not the best shot either. As some crew members of our group may testify to that. But it wasn't me. I'm very, very charismatic, unlike me. I'm literally the opposite of Hazra Khan in our fantasy game. And I really do enjoy talking to people, making them my friend, because you can never have enough friends, such as my lovely space captain that I have. And she does help out randomly, and I'm just opening my character sheet to find out her name because it's going completely out of my head. Yes, Captain Jody Jacks.
That's it.
She's already helped us out once or twice.
JJ.
Yes. I'm very good with a speeder because it doesn't have wheels. I'm even better, if that can be possible, with a starship. I don't have a starship, but trust me, I'm very, very good.
You did have a starship.
I did have a starship. We don't know what happened to it, but we will find out. Yeah. And with that, I shall.
We didn't pay our bills.
We did pay our bills. Yes, Repo Man came.
Yeah. The Repo Starship came.
I'll pass it on to Captain Kangaroo, who is the mad scientist. Not mad.
Everyone, I'm Captain Kangaroo. I'm playing Arthur Hammond. He's the guy with the plan. He's the guy that just comes out of nowhere with some dumb, ridiculous thing. And everyone says, yeah, sure, why not? It seems sensible. And then all of a sudden now we have no more vehicles. He's a tinkerer. He likes to make things, likes to invent things. He likes to fix the problems that mechanically, electronically that the group runs into. But he's also kind of an older fella, so he tends to be a little more cautious with reaching out and meeting with new people. He tends to just kind of stick with his own group, and that's about it. But besides that, he's still a good whippersnapper. He's still spry. All right. But before I take too much time,
pretty spry for a white guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's super white too. That's ridiculous. Now I'm going to pass the mic to our GM in Wales.
And the party is also accompanied by a medical robot called Purdy. Purdy is very much, her skills lie in etiquette, social interaction, being kind, polite, not stating the obvious, and delivering doses of adrenaline and antiseptic and antibiotics, etc., etc. She is controlled by myself, but really she performs the actions that the party require. However, of course, due to robotic law, she cannot harm anybody or allow anybody to be harmed or anything like that. And she plays a very passive role, but will burst into action when medical needs are required. So the party have been recruited and paid by an off-world businessman called Mort. He's a hunter. He goes around from planet to planet trying to shoot and have photographs taken with prize kills. And he arrived on the planet of Arid, which is in the Levito system, which is where the party are. It's mainly a desert world, so think about Tatooine from Star Wars and you get the right idea. and he arrived there, and the party have been trying to look after him and keep him safe, because that is their job. You know, it doesn't matter what happens to anyone else, but they have been paid to keep Mort alive. He has a personal assistant with him. He also had 3 jeeps, which now he only has 1 jeep left. Anyway, they went off. The first hunt was very successful, and he bagged himself a photograph with a dunker, which is a herd animal, very much a cross between think of a reptilian ostrich, and that's what a dunker is. They then went off to meet a ragwug and tried to get an egg, and that battle didn't go according to plan. Their Mince drove the speeder in between the ragwug's legs in a wonderful feat of acrobatics, if you hovercars can be acrobatic. And sadly, the beast went off and hunkered down back into her cave, and the party moved on. During that battle, one of the jeeps got ruined by the ragwug charging. An ionized sandstorm then appeared, and the party quickly took shelter in the cave that you can see on the screen at the moment. And they went in there. This line here that I'm going to remove shortly, this yellow, was the sand that had built up over the entrance, and that was removed by Numen and Mort, and the party were ready to head off. However, they noticed that there were some rather large ridges in the sand, and the party are currently, Mort is after a spiked head worm. Think about Dune and worms under the sand, and that sort of like depicts it. And the party came up with a fantastic idea. I could never see this coming in a month of Sundays, but it was pure ingenious. Tinker and jury rigger Hammond virtually destroyed one of his droids to put some automatic remote control parts into one of the jeeps. He then jury rigged the rest of the grenade launcher, the grenades that Mort had for his grenade launcher, and packed it in. He then quite deftly steered it outside, and then a worm, one of the sandworms, came up underneath it, and Hammond rolled his jury rigging, and he had effectively, with a stroke of luck, I think, had rigged it, and bang, it blew up. And the last thing that happened, last adventure, is that just when that happened, Mort said, "Oh, I hope that will work just as well on the spiked head worm," because they had blown up a normal sandworm, which are quite horrific and nasty in any case. So that's what this rectangle was there that I've now got rid of. And that only leaves the party with 1 jeep and 1 hover car. They've already sort of like pushed a whole load of additional technicians into 1, so that is quite full. They're now 1 down as well. So we left the party there. Now, just before we go on, if you do want to interact and participate in the stream, then you can go over to the Streamloots site. And on there are some cards that are suitable for the use of within this activity. And what it will allow you to do, I'm just pausing one set of cards so I can reveal the other ones now. Let's do that. And yeah, those can be used to provide additional roles, etc., to the party. And they are now available. Now, they're called Mithras, but the rule still remains. And also, Medivac, don't forget you've got your things that we talked about as well.
I do indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, then. So that's where we're at. I think this drone here is the one that you didn't pick to pieces. It's either your surveillance or your security.
It's my surveillance drone.
Oh, nice. That's a nice one then. So bang, wonderful job. Never saw that coming. There's a whole load of worm parts all over the place, and worked absolutely brilliantly. Oh, that's the other thing that I just want to remind you about. This tunnel, if you remember, the floor was very hard packed surface. Do you remember that? And
yes, it's like it's been mined out, hasn't it?
Yes, mined out rather than it looked quite artificial. Rather than just sort of like
saved our bacon.
Yeah. Okay then. So we'll pick it up there. Whoever would like to take up the mantle, go for it.
My first word of hearing Mort say that, I'm going to turn slowly towards him and say,
I'll just move him back a little bit so you could do that.
You mean that wasn't the spiked head worm?
Oh, he says, no, that I feel that I'm going to Australian for some unknown reason. He says, no, he said that was just a small one. The spike head were probably 5, maybe 6 times the size of that.
Well,
are you bloody coaching me?
He says, what? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Hold on, let me make sure my things up. Are you bloody joking with me?
He says that's a really good plan. He says, I'm really impressed with that. I'm so pleased you've come up with this, but hopefully we won't be using my Jeep. And he turns to you, Minsk, and he says, is that why we brought your car?
No.
No, we had all...
to be honest, Mortimer.
Oh!
This was great at
Remember,
the time.
his Sunday name is Montgomery, I think.
Montgomery, actually, yes. Sorry. If we do this again with your vehicle and get another worm, how do we know it's going to be the right one?
He says, you'll definitely know when it arrives. He says, bloody massive it is. And he looks...
was bloody massive.
He looks around this sort of like the tunnel entrance and he says, probably a bit bigger than this. That's its mouth. Or so I've heard. I mean, you could be of the thought that, it's just a rumour. But we all know what rumours are like, don't we, Minsk? And he nudges you slightly.
I'm just going to shake my head in disdain and walk past him to my beautiful, shiny, with a slight dent in the side.
Yeah.
Reader.
And as you approach, Purdy stood there and she sort of like says, James, is it possible to have a word?
Yes, Purdy, by all means.
She says, according to my calculations, we don't actually have enough vehicles to get back to the base.
I'd already thought of that as I saw that vehicle disintegrate.
I hope you're not suggesting... I mean, I could be left behind if that's what the party would agree on. I can be sacrificed. I am but a robot, as you know.
Purdy, you are more valuable to me and to our friends than you could possibly imagine.
Oh, that is so kind of you. And she looks over.
You need to shut you down.
She looks over to the technicians and she says, I'm not too sure which ones of you we'll be taking in that case.
I'm gonna approach my captain really quick in kind of a hushed tone, and then as I walk past more, I'll like the biggest death glare of all time.
Just roll your influence. That's like your intimidation.
Oh, perfect. Let's see what I got. Let's see how intimidating an old man can be.
Bring your John Malkovich.
Yeah. Screw you, John Malkovich.
This is not John Malkovich.
No,
No.
you sort of like.
Do you know what? Do you know what? You can do that again for free.
Oh, you're going to let him have one of your
I'm gonna
roles?
let him have one of my roles.
So, do you mind if I tell them why, Medivac?
Go on, go for it.
I don't understand.
Because part of my Patreon, so Medivac is part of my Patreons group, and the order that he's at, the Green Dragon Order, part of what he pays for me, he gets 2 luck rolls a month, free of charge. So he can actually use those whenever. So say, for example, if you all were patrons to me, then you would all have 2. But it would mean that if somebody who wasn't playing were doing it, then they would not have to buy the cards to play their luck. They could, because they're giving me X amount of money, they get that. So Medivac actually
for £1,000 a month.
I know it was a bit stingy. I know, but he has 2 a month that he can either use himself or give to other people. So
And I'd forgotten about them. So sorry.
yes, that's why I reminded him at the beginning. So he's going to use one of his paid for luck that he gets free. To let you have another roll.
This is what we're going to want me to make the re-roll on? This? Not like a saving...
Yes. 100%.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
What I'm going to say is that one of the options for the Mithras cards is that you can actually guarantee a success for it. So for this one, because your skill's quite low, we'll say it's a success as you pass, or you glare at him as he comes back, and he sort of like turns round and meets your gaze, and then for the first time ever, he tries to smile at you, and then he sort of like looks a bit concerned, and the smile drains from his face, and you're not too sure, Hammond, but there might have been a slight bead of sweat that appeared at his temple.
Good.
As he comes back, and he sort of like looks around for a while and goes up and stands next to Numen and tries to puff his chest out. And he sort of, because you were buddies shifting sand, and he starts to make conversation about the sand, Numen. He starts saying, well, that was a lot of sand, wasn't it? And things like that. And you can either respond to him or just ignore him and carry on. I will
respond, actually, because Numen was just looking out there trying to see if there's any other threats that he could warn people about. As he says that, Numen responds with, so which of your technicians are you leaving behind?
He says, well, there was one who didn't do very well in the performance ratings last month. You know, she said something about a child or issues at home and childcare, but really and truly, you know, if they can't do the job then, so she would be top of the list, I think. But thanks for asking. It's really nice to know that we're on the same wavelength, Numen. He says, you don't mind me calling you Numen, do you? Or would you prefer Zach?
Performance ratings are bull.
Yeah, well, he says, in my line of business, he said, you know, it's really something, keeps them on their toes, you know. And I can guarantee after this trip, once we've left someone behind, then I'm going to get really good performance for the next one. And he looks at you, Numen, he says, you know, he says, I could always use a guy like you on my team. He says, if you ever want to, you know, hop across and become my private bodyguard, then I'm sure I can make it, shall we say, you know, reasonably welcoming for you.
Yeah, if I need a job that might leave me behind to die, I'll let you know.
Yeah, only if you don't perform well. If you perform well, then, you know, I'm not leaving anyway. I mean, and he sort of like looks over his shoulder. He says, It's that one. You see,
Numen's not going to look.
I don't think that's real hair. I think it's synthetic, but I'm quite open to such. And he says, it doesn't bother me. I'm a man of the world.
All right,
You're going to
Hammond.
have to come back for her eventually.
Well,
Otherwise, that might be criminal.
he says, I don't think I'll be coming back for the last one. Not unless I've got some kind of vacuum cleaner to pick up the bits. And he sort of like gives you a nudge. For the people watching the stream, he actually grenade launched one of his technicians and blew her to bits in the second adventure.
And just admitted it to me?
Yeah, he has. He says,
"Don't worry, it's not like you were used to be a cop or anything."
yeah,
No.
he says, you know what I mean? We've got secrets, haven't we? We know what's going on.
Yeah, it's good.
All
right,
Hammond, you have
Hey, ex-cop, you want to do some stim packs with me?
Ask him if he knows what a snail is.
or would you like to be one? Hammond, you have arrived with Minsk. Minsk, as you Hammond arrives, could you roll your perception check for me, please?
Certainly.
So people are watching the stream when players roll, they generally have to meet the standard. So if there's a tick in the standard column, that means they have succeeded. Yeah. So as Hammond is coming towards you and you sort of like finish off talking to Purdy, you do hear behind you, there's definitely some kind of unrest. The technicians are sort of like, they're not arguing among themselves, but they're becoming very much aware that there's not enough vehicles. There's more than 3 of them there. Just think that each of them are 2 or 3, and they're sort of like they were crammed into the last. If you think about it,
That's right. The last vehicle, you took all the important stuff out, the damaged one,
yeah,
and then everybody else climbed in as well. It's gonna be like a sardine tin.
yeah, and then this remaining Jeep is not one of those tech vehicles. Remember, it's more thing, and some of them are even getting nasty about it and started to say, "Well, you never do anything worth it. You never do this. So and so and so." And there's some unrest. It hasn't come to fisticuffs yet.
No, but it's building up. It's a fear of being left behind, isn't it? I'm going to gather.
And they've definitely worked out the mathematics of it. So either maths or math, depending where you come from. Notice I spoke American there just to.
So we can understand more.
Yeah.
Oh, these are math. Got it. I couldn't. I was
confused.
like, what meth? What?
Mathematics? What the hell's that?
Thank you for speaking clearly for us.
I normally say mathematics all the time because in academic writing, the students are not allowed to use abbreviations. And so maths is an abbreviation of mathematics. So because I teach it, I always say
It's not
mathematics.
proper language. You know
It's
what I'm
not
saying?
proper.
Not proper.
Yeah.
No.
They're not allowed to use
Just use the
etc.
word arithmetic.
Yeah, they're not allowed to use etc. because I always say it means there's lots of other things, but you don't really know what they are. So you just
I do that a lot.
you're just going to put etc. in it and then leave it at that. So
Like
yeah,
fish,
Hammond,
etc.
Hammond, you arrive at to Minsk now, down at the back of the cave.
I'm going to kill him. I will strangle him till he stops breathing. I am so going to kill this man. That was our only chance of survival.
Join the queue, Hammond. Join the queue. You are breaching.
We used
the
all of the
quiet.
explosives we had. We only have 2 more vehicles.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And he's quite willing to sacrifice his own people.
Not himself. Or us, really.
No, have you heard? Did you overhear what the engineers behind me were saying?
So I forgot to hear.
Well, they're fighting amongst themselves now. And short of, I mean, if you stripped out his Jeep, could you get everybody in?
No, but I do have another idea.
Is it the same as mine? Is it tying more to the front of my speeder, Mad Max style?
No, that's
driving
more,
through the
that's,
desert.
that's more definitely going to happen. It's not an idea. That's just going to happen. Right? But I have an idea. And so back when we were fighting the Merc one, or whatever it's called. Ragwood. It tilted over a one of the Jeeps, but the axle's broken. If I find an axle out there that's not blown to smithereens, maybe I could replace the axle, and then flip it over, and then we have another Jeep.
I think that's a very good idea, but did you see how amazing your explosions were on that worm? And do you think
as I said,
axle
it's a bit of luck. And I'm gonna have to jury rig it a bit, but that's the only option. Otherwise,
we could also nail a wheel to Mort's head and nail another wheel to his feet and stick him underneath. But
no, Mort's not coming back with us. Is what I've decided.
Well, as much I'd love to say yes to that, he has to come back, so we have to keep him alive for the rest of the mission. I have no intention of helping him kill things anymore. But keeping him alive, even if it's for his own stupidity.
Well, at this point, I don't care about keeping him alive. I keep thinking about keeping ourselves alive. We're dealing with a Titanic giant worm.
Yeah, and he's gonna pay us.
As the conversation goes on, one of the technicians comes over and sort of like says, excuse me, sirs. He looks quite young, probably early 20s. He's trying desperately to grow some facial hair, but not succeeding very well at all. And he seems to be more on the weedy, geeky side rather than the bodyguard suit size. And he seems to be requesting an audience with you two.
Yes, young man, you have something to say?
Yeah.
Do you need?
Yeah. Yes, sirs. We were just thinking that we hope we wouldn't be left here. And if you need us to join together with you to deal with anything, then we're more than happy to join you. Have I made that clear?
Yes, it's very clear.
Brutally clear. But that won't be happening.
He says,
nobody will be getting left behind.
I'm probably more used with a computer than I am with a pistol, but or my fists. But we know you guys are the better bunch, if that makes sense.
Like I said a moment ago, my friend, that nobody will be getting left behind.
And if you ever want any geeky technicians, then I know that a few of us would be quite welcome.
Hello. Again, as I said,
Captain, hold on a second, young lad. I go, Captain. It wouldn't hurt us to kind of build up our team a bit. So I can definitely use a little bit of help sometimes. Even just for experiments.
Yeah, Hammond, that's a great idea, and I think that
they're offering their service, and I think something we might consider.
And I agree, but Numen could also have some help on his side as well. Yeah,
I'm not saying you can't, but that's not what's being asked right now.
But that's not going to happen at the moment.
But okay, let's focus on survival first, and then we'll talk about building up our team later.
How are you going to pay these people unless we finish what we're doing?
Hopefully some IOUs from keeping them alive. No,
you got to think of the bigger picture. That's why I am the captain, and you are the most amazing person at making things, aren't you? You're brilliant, Hammond.
Did somebody just pull rank then?
Yeah, no.
Sorry, what was that, Sergeant? I remember I was captain. You were who?
No.
What now? Non-commissioned, I think, as I heard. No.
To be fair, I found a captain badge in the family.
Yeah, he has a little badge on that says captain.
Happy birthday, captain.
It's written. So I'm probably gonna tell Medevac this, not Medevac, the captain. So I'm thinking we need to take all the parts out of the Jeep, take everything in storage, all of it, rip it out, and see if we can have enough space for the people, and then leave the stuff here. And maybe with what we find, maybe I can figure out something that we can use to, I don't know, help us in the fight against this giant worm that we're definitely going to be eaten by.
That's not that giant worm is not our problem. It's down to Mort to deal with that. We keep Mort alive. But what I do have an idea, and it's just suddenly come to me when you say ripping things out. Could you make, or could we find something to maybe lay out behind the truck we've got, and maybe have people stand, sit, or whatever on that,
like
as
a
it drags
trailer.
like a trailer.
Okay then.
Mm.
So let me present you with some options connected to dice rolls. Would that be helpful at this time?
It would, but I have no idea about what the Jeep is capable of.
Yeah.
It's a thought. I've seen people being dragged on a litter behind them, so I'm assuming you could do possibly the same thing with a car if the car has enough power.
Yeah,
and drives carefully enough.
So the first thing is that the Jeep itself is going to need some alterations in order to rip out anything that is not needed for the actual the moving of the Jeep. If that's the case, then all the Jeep's sensors, possibly the communication array as well, or maybe the communication array might just be one unidirectional from ship down. You know, there'll need to be some actual reduction in the effectiveness. The other thing is that Jeep will not be able to, it's going to go at a steady speed. It's not going to be able to do anything dramatic. Mort will probably be driving it, or somebody else can drive it if needed.
Yeah, Mort won't be driving it.
So what I'm going to say is this. The technicians have some expertise about the electronic stuff. Okay, so they can actually support you, Hammond, with your jury rigging role. What I'm going to say is this. If you get a critical success, you do a flipping wonderful job and you actually make it happen. Okay. If you get a standard job, a standard success, then you've done it, but there's going to have to be some of the technicians are going to have to go in the hover vehicle. Okay, you'll need to adapt that slightly. Maybe take out some of the back seats so you can utilize the cargo space as well. That might mean leaving the surveillance drone or having it up in the air. So if it's a critical, everything's fine. If it's a standard success, you've done a really good job, but it's not enough because this is quite a difficult task, getting 3 into 1. Alternatively, what you could do is you could go and see what is left of the prior vehicle out in the sand. And this will allow you to use what's left to create somewhat of a trailer. Okay, so that will create a trailer that can be it could be your choice, either be hooked to the back of the Jeep or hooked to the back of the hover car. Okay, this will literally be an open bed on wheels. You know, it would have significant handholds that the people who can't fit in the Jeep can go on the trailer. And to do that, in order to see and get enough equipment, enough bits, that would just be like a normal jury rigging role or a success to make sure that you've got all the bits. The other thing that I would just like to point out about that is that it's not sort of like here. No,
It's out there.
It's out. It's where we were.
yeah,
So it's near the ragwood.
yeah. Well, it's quite a way out, and it will be scattered. Okay.
So what we need to do is, I go for the latter. It'd be no. I mean, I don't. Would my speeder be able to pull some of that because it works on hovering?
Yeah. So it would be able to pull it, but you would not be able to have the up and down movement at all, which means that your handling would be halved.
Yeah, I would put it on the Jeep because it has more traction, and if Mort doesn't drive it, we can have somebody sensible driving it and taking it nice and steady.
Okay.
I personally think, I'm assuming that Hammond has been spitballing what you've just been saying towards me about the different ideas.
Yeah, I think that would be fair enough to say. Yeah.
I think the latter makes more sense because we're going to rely on a lot of luck if I were to do the other, the first.
If it's just the front axles that have gone, I'm guessing that the back ones, if you just took off the actual wheels at the front.
No, I think you're sewing it really. Yeah. Sewing the front off.
I think what it will be and then so the trailer might be made up of 2 doors and a roof. And there's enough sort of like additional metal to sort of like
connect it to the one in front.
And one thing that we'll say is that Hammond naturally carries some kind of mechanical kit in the back.
Well, I would imagine I have a toolkit that I always have.
I hope so, because you turned a drone into a bomb.
Yeah, exactly. No, he changed the Jeep into a bomb.
That's right. No, I did it with my little garage over here with the A-Team theme music.
It was a bit like MacGyver. He just had a paper clip, and that was
and a pencil.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Yeah.
All right, I'm thinking latter, but
that was so funny then, Medivac, because what I heard there from your background was, okay, we are ready for you. It just fitted in so well.
Well, at least he's watching MasterChef.
So you're going to have to go out onto the open sand.
Yeah. But what would help a lot is if we do it with the with the hover vehicle rather than the Jeep, because it's less rattling to get the worm's attention. So it might be a jolt for us. I'll get a rope and winch to kind of pull the vehicle over, and something maybe we can drag it behind us to get back into the safety of this cavern. But besides that, again, it's going to be a lot of luck.
Yeah, but you won't be hurting my speeder, will you? Hurting my speeder, will you?
No. I won't. We can let go of and cut the winch and rope if we need to. If we get into a little pickle.
There's probably a buxom blonde bark lady at the back that you could use for the wrench if you if you want.
Well done, sir. Well done. I agree with what you're saying, because the speeder will have less noise travelling across the sand. I do think we need to take a technician with us.
Yeah.
And I do think that I'd like to have Numen with us as well, just keeping an eye out.
Yeah, and I'll have my surveillance drone above us to monitor any seismic activity.
Brilliant. How long does your surveillance drone last before it needs recharging?
It's not a worry.
Yeah, it's days.
It probably charges off your hover vehicle in any case.
Are we sure that we want to leave Purdy with?
Well, I was going to say I want Purdy to act as like a morale booster for the technicians. Just maybe try to boost
Give us
the morale.
a speech from AM radio.
Yeah, she has AM radio and medical abilities. I don't know how good are her talking abilities. Is she
Her talking, she doesn't have oratory, if that's what you're asking. But
that's exactly what I was asking
and
about.
her natural ability is almost like. I'm just checking to see whether or not she does have oratory. Actually, no, she doesn't. She has commerce, research, politics that you gave her, and language identification and sensors. So her normal sort of like talking phase is to be completely truthful. And
no, that's not good.
And you know, if a technician said, "Do you think any of us are going to die?" then her response would be, "There is a 98% chance that one of you will die, especially if you've got a red jumper on," or something like that, and then that would be it.
I'm all open for suggestions, Numen.
Honestly, as much as I'd like to go on this trip, I feel realistically it's better to have me here than to have Purdy here, because at least I can keep things in order. I can make sure people don't riot, hopefully, and you'll be back for me anyways, so
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely come back.
Yeah,
I would have been fine with just a nod. The reassuring action is doing opposite.
No, that's fine. We will be back. Do you want some extra water?
Yes, I would actually like some water and some of our dehydrated sandwiches.
And at that point, when it's obvious that Numen's been left behind, Mort says to you, he says, "Don't worry," he says, "I'll stay with the heavy crew here. We'll fight anything off, won't we, Numen? Sorry, Zach. We'll fight." Is it Zach or Zachary?
It's Zach.
Zachariah.
I thought you were going to say it's Numen.
I was answering you as
It's Numen to you.
He says, Mort says, "We'll stay here." Okay then. So just so I know, Minsk, you will be driving, I assume. Hammond, are you doing shotgun?
Yeah.
It's your only chance.
Yeah.
Shotgun.
You sort of like get in the seat and suddenly realise that these front seats are a lot more comfortable than the back seats that you normally get.
Numen, they have heated seats.
Yeah, that's it. They're heated and as you
Like
lean
massage.
back, they sort of like
The recline.
mold around your body and everything.
Numen.
It's just like,
beer pops into your hand.
And you have a little AC control that pops out and you can do whatever you want.
and you can see that there's a shotgun chair holster empty there for him, and then that's it. So
I'm gonna throw the crust of my sandwich.
and so you send your.
Can we take 2 technicians with us as well?
You can only fit 4 in your car.
Yeah. Can we leave Purdy behind?
If you leave Purdy behind with me, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's just
Yeah.
Purdy on her own. She's going to get
Yeah,
killed or kill somebody
Or
by accident.
create a small society.
Typically, she, well, if you bring Birdie with us, she's probably gonna get killed by me. So I don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep all the people that Hammond wants to murder with me.
So you've got the 20-year-old young lad that was quite happy to start a mutiny with you, and he handpicks a young girl to go along with them, which they seem to be. When he sort of like has to pick someone, he immediately locks eyes with this girl, and they sort of like
she blows him off, and he's now considered like white.
yeah,
am I in
they
the friend
sort of
zone?
like come in and they sort of like look back at the technicians that are remaining and say, "Don't worry, I'm sure we're coming back." Like this, and there's a bit of a rumble of discontent, and Mort says, "Shut up," and then that's it. So the surveillance drone is sent up. What's its orders?
Any seismic activity to pinpoint it, and then tell us as soon as possible.
Got you, yeah. And then I presume then, Minsk, you're going to drive out and start circling around the explosion site, and
we're going to the original van that got tackled by the Ragnarok, aren't we?
that is hours away.
Is it?
Yeah, you took hours to get to
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Oh, my thing was
Yeah.
because it's only got a broken axle.
Yeah.
My whole thing was we could then change that.
But you could
That's
probably,
hours away. I thought because
no, it's
we had the option of going north or south of the Ragwood
exactly.
Cave.
Yeah, and then you came
That was-
south to the cave.
North
Because
was
it's
closer.
far.
I can't imagine anything being left of the one that was
Well,
used to blow up the worm.
I'm quite happy to say. I mean, there would just it probably dissolved the Jeep, but you're not
Yeah.
actually looking for a whole Jeep. What you're looking for are parts. You know,
okay.
anything that is
Like the face, the back wheels, and
yeah, exactly. And what I'm going to say is that there's 6 locations that you can get bits from. Okay, so the idea is that you'll go around, and if you get to all the locations, then that's fine. You've got enough, and then when we come back, we can jury rig it together for the roll.
Okay.
So the drone is up high, surveilling for seismic activities, and the first thing that happens when you're all in the hover car, you leave the shelter of the mountain, is that you immediately get a communication from the starship. And they, as you move out, there's a bit of static crackle as you come out of the tunnel, and then the starship is sort of like radioing in, and sort of like it comes over your communications, and they sort of like say, we lost you for a while there. Is everything right? All right, we sensed a explosion on the surface.
Hammond, I'll let you do this. I was really concentrate on driving.
I pressed the button. Everything's all right. It was a necessity in order to keep us protected from a giant worm. Turned out not to be the giant worm. Actually, a lot more. But everything's fine. We're all good. But we are trying to figure out how to get back home. Sure.
Yes. On the sorry. I'm not too sure I know you, but could you give a message to our employer, please?
Sure. What is that message?
It's just that the ionized sandstorm has appeared to have the same effect on the worms as heavy rainfall on the usual Terran system. It looks like the ionized sandstorm actually somewhat aggravates them and encourages them to come to the surface.
Right. Is there a sandstorm coming to get back here?
No, that has passed your, and there's a cut off, and she comes back and says, yes, that has passed your location, but we are picking up several seismic activities around the general area. There seems to be a lot of underground activity at the moment.
Anything exactly near us?
And the communication goes totally quiet, as if she's clicked off, she's put herself onto mute, and she clicks back and says, there was one a while back, but that seemed to have stopped.
All right. Keep an eye out. Please communicate with us if you see anything from above in our immediate area.
Yeah.
I'm listening to this, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's coming over your headset as well.
Yeah. Hammond, ask her if there's an unusually large seismic activity in the area compared to others.
In all these seismic activities, do you see one that's extremely large? Something that's definitely more prominent than the others?
One moment. No, not that we can say, but I have to warn you that we encountered some technical difficulties due to the ionized sandstorm. Yes. There's still some latent activity of the ionization around your general area. So we are working to overcome that and to remodulize the communication array and sensors. We'll try to keep you up to date as quickly and as we can.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Just keep an eye out.
Hammond, you're so nice to them. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
because
You've been
they're
very
proper and
helpful.
doing their job.
Yeah, the proper text like Hammond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to have 6 locations. At every location, I'm going to make a dice roll. Don't worry about that. So Hammond, you come to the first location. Now, just to let you know, the technicians will provide you with some augmentation, and they will augment your roll positively by 16%.
What am I rolling?
So it's going to be your jewelry rigging.
All right.
That we're going to do. But just add on that temporary plus 16 to it.
All right.
Okay, then. So you get to location number 1. So I'm going to make it quite mathematical, but generally what's happening is that you're moving around, you're seeing sensors going off places that various things could be. That is the help coming in from the technicians, reading your sensor array on your hover vehicle, but also their own knowledge. So yeah, and then you're moving to another site, etc. So it's not necessarily in a circle, it's backs and forwards. Okay, so yeah, so roll please your jewelry. Oh, hang on, before we go, I'm going to give you a choice, Hammond. Would you like to make a number of jewelry rigging rolls or just one?
One.
Okay, so if it's successful, then you're fine. If it fails, it's not.
Got
okay, so
can I get a luck roll in that one?
yeah, you can use your luck as usual. If Medivac uses one of his luck, then we'll decide whether or not it's an automatic success or not. But you just want to do one, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
One.
So roll. You're going to do the roll, but there's going to be things that are going to be happening out on the sand. But we'll just get that roll out of the way first. So don't forget to augment it with the 16.
All right. And 3, 2, 1.
Countdown.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Nothing needed at all. So you actually go round. You actually only need to reach 3 of the 6 areas until you have enough parts. They can go in your boot or strapped to a part of your hover vehicle, maybe on a roof, and strapped onto the roof or on something like that. When you're out at the furthest distance away from the tunnel, you do get a communication in from the starship above that there is significant seismic activity, not a huge amount, and one that probably suggests that there's like a worm somewhere close. Okay, so now we're going to move to you, Minsk. Okay, so you've got this information, and it's up to you now to get the people back safely to the tunnel. Okay, so it's up to you. Yet again, do you want to make 3 rolls or 1 roll?
What am I rolling? My piloting.
Yeah, so your piloting is going to act as an evasion roll in this instance.
I'm going to rely on the 1 roll.
Okay.
I do feel that I have the confidence, and also I need
all your luck
people alive, and about 1 billion luck.
So the math makes sense.
It's not about that. It will be a case of I'm driving it as carefully as I possibly can, because I've seen the size of one of these things.
Yeah, very much so. So we head back. So you've got what you need, and the handling's fine in your vehicle. That's absolutely fine. So that's not a problem. So all that we're going to do, rather than have 3 separate attacks, we're just going to have 1 roll as it is. So if you would like to roll your piloting skill first. That's nice. Yeah, well done. So that's it. So this is the attack roll coming in on the worm. Okay. Ooh, a 92. So actually what happens is that as you're coming back, there's sort of like 3 attacks on you. But due to your sensor array and maybe the technicians behind you as well, this worm seems to be slightly disorientated, still with the ionized storm. And you actually say you see something coming from, gently underneath the sand, that ridge appalling, and you manage to avoid the first one altogether. You actually sense it. You do notice that there's another one, and the worm activity is a lot more than what it was. Okay, a lot more. The second one, you suddenly notice in front of you, almost like coming up too early, the more of the worm comes up,
Popping up.
and you just manage to bank your hover cart round it, and as you go past it, you sort of like get showered with sand particles as it's sort of like coming up. And then just as you pull into the tunnel, you sort of like go into the tunnel, and then behind you one just sort of goes shoom, like that.
Ooh.
And then it hits back, and your hover car it's probably more sandy and dusty. And as you're going by, you hear from the starship overhead things like significant seismic activity in, oh, well done, sir, well done, watch out. And then like this, and you manage to swear. And they seem to be congratulating you on your superb driving.
And why wouldn't they?
Yeah, and when you get back to as you approach the tunnel, Numen has to sort of like say, stand back, and move people out the way, because they've congregated in the tunnel and seeing your wonderful...
I'd like to think that Numen's more like, stand back, the master has arrived again.
Your masterful use of your piloting and your skill roll to actually get the requirements, the resources to make this trailer back.
Once I pull up, I'd like to just open the door, step out, and casually say, can any of you guys just give this a clean up?
And some of the technicians go, oh, yes, sir, we will. And Mort says, yeah. They sort of like head towards your car, and Mort says, yeah, you can go and help him. But almost like after the event, and sort of like they sort of like start clearing out the exhaust pipes, or the I don't know, the plasma emitters or something, as they sort of like start to clean it up. And Hammond, you then start to do your work in the background, and it takes you probably 2 hours to get everything sorted and everything. And
in that time, could I just go over to Numen and ask him how everything's been while we're away? Because I know he's been left alone for a substantial amount of time there, and I want to make sure that people are happy and that he's been okay himself there.
And with one look, he tells you everything that has happened.
Yeah. You're back now. Do you want to keep the surveillance drone up and registering or not?
Yeah, I still want registering.
So that's on, almost like
obviously keep in safe distance from the ground.
It's absolutely fine. It's at significant height. The worm's not going to even know it's there, because they sense vibrations on. So when Hammond, you're busy tinkering away, and you eventually make the trailer. It's good quality with what you've had to work with, Hammond. It's not your best piece of work, but it is good for what you get. And you make sure that you factor in certain handholds for any of the sort of like the 6 technicians that would be huddled to get in there can actually hold on. So if it does get tipped, then that will allow them a brawn roll to keep in rather than just out. Are you attaching it to the Jeep or the hover car?
Jeep.
Yeah.
So the plan is, because obviously the second we all leave this hole, we're going to be hunted down. So the plan is just to use our hover vehicle to distract away from what's probably going to be the slower Jeep. So we're going to use the maneuver and capabilities of the hover car, which is probably faster too than the Jeep, to distract the worms as the Jeep gets away, and then we'll catch up to them and meet up with them on the way back to civilization.
Okay. Mort volunteers to pilot, to drive the Jeep.
No, no, Mort, I think your skills would be better suited to delegating and let one of your staff drive, and then you can keep an eye out everywhere for this large worm you are hunting.
Yeah, he sort of like says, I'm not too sure what I can kill it with now.
So this is actually the question I'm gonna put you on spot, and Wills.
Can you question I'm gonna have on all the people in that one? How are the what's the power source of the Jeeps? Like, is it gasoline, or is it like electric? Like, do they have an electric battery, or
it's probably electric in this day and age.
I would imagine. Is the battery volatile?
No. That would be ridiculous, because if you imagine that every Jeep that's around would be
volatile. I mean, like, if you shoot up a gas tank a car.
Yeah, that would be explosives, but these are electric, so they're not going to detonate.
I'm just trying to see if there's anything that's, I can use to make a little bum if we run into something we can't deal with.
Yeah, you probably use the grenades that Mort had on your.
That's what I think we agreed on. I use all the grenades for that. I want to make sure it worked.
It did. Mort says to you, Numen. He says, I won't be driving. I'll be shotgun, Numen. So if you would like me, sorry, Zachary, if you would like me to use your shotgun, I'm more than happy to heft it out the window.
You're not man enough to hold my shotgun.
Maybe a pea shooter.
He says, sorry. He says, I wasn't suggesting some kind of competition or anything like that. I was just looking at the general where you were and, whether or not I would be better handling it.
You're not man enough. More. Maybe one day.
Maybe when you're in my employment, we can sort of like trade gun skills if you would be up to that. I probably can show you a thing or two with weapons, that might have been missed out on your basic training with the shields,
Like what, a grenade launcher? Flamethrower?
Yeah, well, he says, did you hear about that?
Wait, you have a flamethrower?
I didn't realize the story had gone this far. No.
Tell me more.
Well, we were hunting the giant wasps, and the giant wasps actually live inside an organic tree. They actually bury themselves in it and then hollow out the tree. And of course, being of my hunter of my caliber, I really wanted to get a good shot of it. So what we did was that I flamethrowed their tree, wasps and all.
That is absolutely barbaric, but it does sound like it worked.
It did, honestly. I mean, the fact that we first of all doused the tree in volatile liquid probably helped as well. But, you know, you need to know where to point it, don't you?
I suppose so. I've never used a flamethrower before.
Oh, there you are. See, I can teach you a few things. So grenade launcher, flamethrower. Yeah, and I'm sure you could teach me a few things with your shotgun there.
Perhaps. I should be getting to the captain now. It looks like we're going
Is
to
it
be
pump
leaving.
action? Do you have to go?
I chose to have pump action, yes.
Can you hold it just by their hand and go, but just one-handed?
Well, not to brag, but based on how brawny my muscles are, I'd give it about a 53% chance I could do it.
Oh, show me.
Oh, you know what? I have to now. I've been called out on it. It's time to go talk to my captain.
Can I do actually?
He does it. He
Just so
actually
you know, I would have used a luck point if you hadn't.
We'll use the rather.
And he's you more sort of like taken aback, and he sort of like glances at your biceps for a while, and then he's quite impressed. You're going to have a choice, people. And we got 2 minutes before the break, so it'd be a good thing to decide. Would you like? It's becoming about dusky time at the moment. Okay, you still got about 3-4 hours of light, and remember, you got significant amount of time to get back. Remember, you're not just round the corner. One thing that you probably are aware of is that the further that you've got away from Arid, from the base station, the more active the wildlife has become. So you probably have roughly a day to travel back in that direction. Now, you do have the starship up above you that will be sending you continuous data. But do you want to travel through the night and into the next morning, or do you want to wait to the next morning and travel through the day first? So it's either night first or day first. What's going to be your decision, Captain?
I personally think, and correct me, Numen, because you're my tactical officer here. I think we wait till first dawn and go through the daylight while we're out here, and then we can have the relative safety of traveling through night closer to the city.
Does Numen have a tactics skill?
No, he's not really like he's not a squad
So
kind of
I
law
was
enforcer.
I was just going to offer you to roll it and give you some information if you had, but I'm not fussed about it at all.
Numen has a different question to that. I've only seen these giant worms during the day. Maybe you could talk to one of the technicians or the people in the sky and see if they are only active during the day. Because I'd rather get back to the city as soon as we can. And if they're only active during the day, we should go right now.
That's a very good point, Numen. That's why you're here with us. Well, there's more than that. To be fair, your awesome shotgun skills.
Yeah,
yes.
There's no actual empirical data about the activity of worms during the night. There is data saying that they are quite active during the day, but only after ionized storms. Once that's passed and the background count has dropped, and especially through the day, they tend to bury deeper in the sand to avoid the heat. But this normally takes a day or two to actually happen. It does mean that during the night, you can predict that it's going to be cooler. So having that information probably means that they could be further at the surface during the night, but you don't know. The other thing is that Minsk, your driving would be considerably better during the day.
That's what I'm thinking as well, but I was trying to, yeah. Okay. I'd rather get away from here safely in daylight and close to civilization.
That makes sense.
And then make the last run through the night.
Yeah. Okay then. So we'll take a quick 15-minute break there, and we'll be back at 1:45, and then we will head off back to the safety of Arid, and we'll see what actually befalls the party. Okay then, Recons has said the robot looks really suspect. Can you trust him? Can you trust her?
Yeah,
of course
we
you can.
can.
Okay,
She knows all about talk radio.
She does. She does.
And politics.
And politics, yeah. So we'll take a quick 15-minute break. So we'll be back at 1:45, and we'll see you all there. Be all because the lady loved milk tray.
Milk tray, yeah. It's like a James Bond thing.
Yeah, the guy with
everything.
a black turtleneck would creep onto a boat.
Not stalkerish whatsoever.
leave a box of milk tray and a calling card that was just the outline of a man. And then he would then dive off and go and fight sharks. And the tagline for that was, and all because the lady loves milk tray. And that's what...
Yeah, that's what it was. But these adverts must have cost thousands or millions or whatever, yeah.
Honestly, they were absolutely...
For a box of chocolates, it cost $3.99.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's where my thank you song comes in, because it was always for Rose's chocolates. Thank you very much for doing the dishes. Thank you very much. That's from an advert that was also super. But honestly, you missed out on so much. Shake and vac and put the freshness back.
Shake and vac and put the freshness back.
And then there was that and bungo.
Bungo and Tiki in the joke. Oh, I can top that. Kiora.
Oh, I'll be your dog.
Yeah, it's like Kiora. It's too good for you, crows. It's only for me, my dog. I'll be your dog.
Yeah, so we actually, and the other two, there was Baby Sham, and Martini was anytime, any place, anywhere. There's a wonderful thing that you could share. That's Martini, and that's what it was. So brilliant. So we are setting off in daylight. Is that right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Crack of dawn.
Crack of dawn, just as one of the twin suns appears over the horizon, you set off. Hammond, do you want your surveillance drone to follow you at a reasonable height, etc.?
Yeah, there's actually one thing I want to do before we all take off.
By all means.
I want to do a research roll to see if there's any instances documented of these sandworms being cannibalistic.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, roll your research.
I also have a question.
Yeah.
So this planet has 2 suns?
Yeah.
How many moons do we have?
That is on... I think it's in your player information, is it not?
I'll show you a moon.
I'm just curious if we have a light moon and a dark moon. And what they be called, in that case.
Yeah.
Not that I'm into astronomy over here, but
or anything like that.
The light moon just calls to me for some reason. No,
I was going to say, I'm Ryland.
I choose a planet performance because I'm a Sagittarius.
Sorry, it's just the Levito system only has one sun, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4 planets. And one of them is terrestrial, which is planet number 3, which is where Arid is. And Arid has... it doesn't have any moons on record, I don't think. Has no satellites at all.
Well, we also don't really have any oceans, do we?
No. You don't at all. I will pop it in the Discord for you if you wish.
Yeah, I just wanted to know about our moon situation. I didn't need Captain Kangaroo's moon. But I appreciate the sentiment.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Stuff's in there somewhere.
All the details.
Yeah.
I somehow managed to successfully roll my research roll.
Yeah. So are you talking about the sandworms or the spike head worm?
I assume they're all connected somehow. I highly doubt they went too far off the evolutionary connection there.
Okay,
I imagine.
So because you've got a standard role, you find out the information about the normal everyday worms. They tend not to be cannibalistic, but they do appear to be extremely territorial. Okay.
Got it.
There is some weird pictures, a bit like images of the Loch Ness Monster, if you remember, of the spiked head worm. And, you know, some of them, you know, you just sort of think, no, that is just a hand with a sock on it or something like that. And then that's it. Yeah, so you set off, and the trailer's behind Mort's Jeep, isn't it? But Mort is not driving that. One of the techs is driving. And
but so sorry, I don't want to mean to interrupt, but the reason why I asked to see if the research to see if they're cannibalistic is I'm wondering if I could take some of the pieces from the dead worm, one that exploded off bits of the dead worm, and use that as a lure if we need it.
So what size bits are you...
like a truck of flesh that's, you know, something we can drag behind our vehicle if we need to.
Do you want something the size to go in your trunk of the hover car?
Something
I was just trying to see Minsk's face there.
Yeah. Can I just talk to Hammond and say, Hammond, your ideas are always brilliant, but do you remember a few days ago when we found that Mort was dragging dead meat under his fans? And what happened?
The worms came. That's the point. I need you to
distract. We don't want the worms to come.
But we can always cut it off when we're done having it follow us. This is the point of the lure. It's for it to lure towards us instead of going after the slower Jeep.
Maybe it's not best to antagonize the worms.
Yeah, I think that perhaps if we...
By dragging in the flesh of its dead sister across his head.
How dare you?
Trying to make a fight.
I mean, my theory here is that perhaps maybe if we do encounter a worm, that Numen here could maybe fire his shotgun into the sand to create a diversion that way. And I could just drive away from the Jeep and dragging the thing away, hopefully. So just a thought. I mean, great idea, but blood would take a while to get a scent going. And if we need it instantly, I don't think that... And it was also, on the other side, it would restrict my driving abilities because I'll be dragging a lump of meat behind me.
Yeah.
And I love those technicians, but I don't want to die for them.
I want to whisper to my captain. Well, the original idea is dragging Mort around, but I don't think he would accept that.
No, you have to be in time from the front of my speeder first.
So, just to give you an idea, obviously all four of you are in the hover car. I assume that, and we're just going to split the van and the trailer into to talk about the technicians. We're going to say that there's 2/3 of the technician in the van, in the Jeep, and 1/3 in the trailer. Obviously that means the Jeep's a little bit more packed, but it means less people are going to be out in the sun, because obviously both your car and the Jeep have air conditioning in, that is remains. So they might, if there's any stopping, they might swap round. And just to let you know, the Mort instructed the technician to draw straws or whatever to see who was in the trailer and who came into the Jeep. And that's what actually has happened. Okay, so you set out. Your surveillance drone is up and keeping notice, looking for seismic tremors. Yeah.
Can we also have Hammond, if possible, I don't know if you can do two things at once, but maybe be in communication with this starship as well?
Yeah, so you are all... Imagine that you're constantly in touch with that. So they will get in touch with you as Mortar's ordered if anything happens or anything should be. They're
Any sort of worm
monitoring.
sign or anything.
Yeah, they're monitoring your path, and you sort of like set off. Just roll 1d100. Your light surveillance drone has a perception of 50%. So just roll it now. So we've got. Yeah. Do you wish to look that? You can use a point to look. How many luck points do you have? 3?
2.
2.
Yeah.
So do you wish to?
I plan to. I'm going to reverse it.
Yeah. Okay. So your.
I like survival.
Yeah, your surveillance drone is feeding you information, and it's coming down from the ship as well to sort of like cross match it. And what happens is that from your surveillance drone and from the starship's data, you manage to deviate or divert or get the best path through various seismic activity underneath the sand. And they do sort of like reinstate the idea that, you know, the ionization is still in the sand, and it does tend to aggravate the worms. They're not coming up to enjoy it. As it seeped through, it's causing them irritation, etc. But between the two of them, both the surveillance drone and your starship that is in synchronized orbit with you, you manage to navigate around. And you've been out about an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours traveling, when a worried message comes over the comms, and you double check this with your surveillance drone and find the same. The seismic activity has been quite significant over this time, but both the ship and your surveillance drone at this moment, Hammond, report to you that the seismic activity are moving away from your position. Moving away as in almost like in a radial fashion. They don't seem to be coming towards you. They almost like saying, if you drew a line between you and where you were, nothing's going over that. They're just sort of like spreading out, and these seismic their seismic activity is definitely moving away and reduced from your general area.
I want to speak to Captain. So, from what I understand, they seem to be branching away from us, which typically might be a good thing. But sometimes the smaller fish tend to scatter when the big fish comes. So keep that in mind. But keep going forward, and I'll tell you if I see something big coming up on the sensors.
Because why would they just sort of disperse unless it's something else?
Yeah, I doubt they'll give up this easily.
Okay then. So
let's go while we're going is good.
Yeah, you probably put your foot down a little bit indirectly. Okay then. So something's going to happen. You'll realise something's going to happen, and you don't get any say about what is happening due to the title of the attack roll when it comes up. Okay then. So all of a sudden, from under the ground, shoots up what can only be described as a monster of a worm. It seemed to be underneath. So I have just pressed another the wrong button and come out of roll 20. I'm coming back. Don't worry, I'm coming back, everyone.
When you get back, we've left and we're at the
Yeah.
starport.
I'm panicking.
We're home safe and sound now. There's no need to. There's no
Nothing
need
to
to
see
do
here.
anything. Right, I should be back now. Yeah. And this worm, this huge worm, it seems to have come up directly underneath both you and the vehicle behind you. So by its first roll, it's missed you altogether, Minsking your vehicle. I think that maybe the sensor of the surveillance drone picked something up at the last minute, and Hammond just suddenly said, right, or, you know, and you zero off, and it comes up. And now I need to make a second roll to see whether or not it hits the pursuing vehicle as well. Let me just call it up again.
And now we're down to one car. How do we get everybody back?
Well, it's
We
I
don't.
don't think we'll need to. No.
so this is for
You're now chowder.
the second one.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it
This
actually,
worm is blind as shit.
yeah, so it sort of like comes up between two of you at the, you know, in between, and you both managed to dive to one side, and the Jeep behind you drives to one side, and the technician whirls it to one side as this worm comes up in between you and sort of like grasps at nothing before it opens up its mouth and sort of like sinks back down. And Mort gets very excited over the comms, and he's sort of like going, it's a spiked head worm, it's a spiked head worm, everyone, it's a spiked head worm. And he sort of like, you can hear him say, no, get me a bigger gun, get me a bigger gun. Now the only thing that we need to do, and I'm going to let you roll it, the people, the third of the technicians in the trailer need to make a brawn roll. Okay, I'm more than I can roll it if you prefer me to roll it, or you can roll it. Their brawn is actually 46. Okay, so that's there. So if you succeed, or if I succeed, then they all succeed. I'm not doing so. So would you like to roll?
Mr. Pickles can do it. He's our broad man.
Yeah,
I do have good brawn.
yes.
By now,
So
I'm rolling a
47
D100.
is 46. Sorry. I'm just.
Ooh.
Yeah, and the trailers veers off to one side, and they hang on to grim death as it sort of like goes up on its side and sort of like veers off to one side, and this worm comes down. And at that point, Hammond, everybody hears from the starship, and they say, there's a huge seismic activity right on your location now.
Jesus Christ, you. All right.
Could I quickly, as a free action, ask Hammond to take some pictures of this thing with his drone?
Yeah, you can. We're not in combat round at the moment, but
No,
yeah, he's
my theory is this thing is unheard of and it's a myth in a sense.
yeah.
Pictures are worth money. So
Okay then. So the next thing that I would like you to roll, initiative. Minsk, you're not rolling your initiative. What you're rolling is a D10, and then add on the handling of the vehicle. Okay. So what I'll do is that I will add, if you sort of like have your person click, what's your handling?
my handling is 57.
57.
Or 8, whichever.
Yeah, so
The right one is
I've
8.
added you to the the combat order. Can you see that? So if you just roll a d10 and add your,
Yeah.
I will add you on. Hammond and Numen, if you just roll. What's the handling of your vehicle?
It's 8. I'm going to.
Reroll.
You can use a point of look on
You can
or
use
dice.
you can use luck on anything. I wouldn't reverse it. Well, you can't
No.
reverse it. You have to re-roll it.
I'm going to re-roll that if that's okay. Then.
Yeah, go for it.
Yay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
better.
So what is 8? Did you say? So 15 altogether? Yeah.
15. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who's have we got? Newman's in. Let me just put 15 there. So let's organize you generally. Okay, so this is the spiked. Can I just say that my spike head worm has -2 experience rolls? I'm not happy at all.
He's never
That's
gonna
good.
learn.
No.
Very stupid.
And he needs to level up.
You call him a spiked head worm. You should call it a hollow head worm, really.
Okay, and then I'm going to add Mort. He's going to roll his 1d10. Oh, no. 6, 8, 10. So these are our dice rolls. So the worm collapses in underground. Okay, we're actually going to, if anybody's still alive at the end of it, what we'll do, Hammond, is that we'll roll its perception score to see how good your pictures are. But it's out of combat, so unless you bring it into combat, in which case it would have to engage, but at the moment it's fine where it is. Okay, then. So what's going to happen now is that we're going to go. I just need to move these down here so they're out of my way of my turn order. So obviously, Minsk, your evade roll is now your piloting skill. Okay, so if the attack comes for the vehicle, you would use your piloting skill as an evade rather than your combat skill or anything like that. Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay, then. So just to let you know, this is spread out over a series like an hour. So you'll be traveling for a while, then it'll come up for attack, traveling for a little bit longer, then it comes up for an attack. And it's up to you how you deal with the situation and what actually happens. So on the first attack, notice I'm coming up first, and he's going to use his surprise ambush. And this is due to the fact that it can move incredibly fast through the sand. Okay, and it generally is coming up straight up in between the two of you at any one point. So this is, it's not very good as is a surprise attack, obviously, because it's hard to be surprised when you're coming up the sand. And this one is the first one is always for your car, Minsk. So that one misses you. And the second one, it comes up in between, and it misses both the vehicles altogether. Hammond, we now come to you for this part of this attack. So every attack will go through the turn order, okay? And what we'll have 2 turns before the sand worm can get itself back underground. Does that make sense? So then during that time, the sandworm spike-headed worm, can't do another attack unless it's succeeded with its ambush. And then it can. Hammond, so it's coming up. It's sort of like it came up far to one side or a bit slow, everything as it comes up. Everybody's safe and sound, and it's up to you. What would you like to do?
Before I think we started combat, because he did ask me to make sure we take some footage of this thing with my drone. Hopefully I've activated a recording by the drone.
That's happening now. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But besides that, I'm going to roll down my window and do the only thing I know how to do in this case, and that's shoot my blaster.
Nice.
So I might have to take a turn to take it out and aim. But
yeah. So if you want to draw it and fire it in the same action, then you can do that. But it's a hard skill roll rather than standard.
I'm feeling lucky. I feel like I can pull this hard skill roll off.
Minsk and his his flip out, he still does it as a standard.
Yeah.
Because he's cool. And I said in the chat, Numen, you cannot put a shotgun into
an arm holster. You walk like this all day.
Yeah. Yeah. So roll your to hit roll. Go for it.
I am not lucky.
No, so you fire a shot off it and it misses altogether. Numen, you're up. Everything will be in short range, by the way, when we're battling.
Short range? Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use my shotgun and show our scientist how it's done.
Yeah, cool.
See if I can't blast away. I imagine Numen probably had his shotgun out in his lap, but he's probably also eating a granola bar at any given moment. I don't know. It's up to you whether I need to equip it. He's not just gonna be holding it the whole time. He's probably gonna spend an hour.
Well, you probably have to get the window down so you can fire it hard.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Here is the law.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go ahead and use a luck point because Numen is determined.
Yeah, okay, so you use up your luck point, and so there's no the only sort of specials that you can use on this at the moment is you can use things that affect the damage, and that's all. So you can't say use press advantage or pin, because mainly the thing is too large to do anything. But you will have a special that you would naturally have. So if you would like to do something and then roll what special would you like?
The only specials that I want to use are criticals, and I don't think I can stun him or bash him with this. So I'm just gonna go for damage.
Okay, so roll a 1d20.
Oh, right. I hit him on the 2.
So just to let you know,
genitalia.
Yeah.
No.
It's left nipple. That's what. No. So
no. Why does it have nipples?
It goes tail tip, mid end, fore end, rear mid, middle mid, fore mid, rear fore, mid fore, head. And so it's all sort of separated up. So 2 actually hits it in its tail end. So you're doing this as it's come out and you fire it off. Go for it. Do some damage for me.
I'm going to roll a 9. Oh, 11.
Not terrible.
I have an idea that I need to look up the rules for next turn.
Yeah, cool.
Look, the damage will be higher.
So just to let you know, your shotgun bullets, your shells actually seem to go through a gap. It's injured, but it doesn't look like it's significantly injured at all. It's just a minor wound on it. James, Minsk, is there anything you would like to do at this point apart from put your foot down?
I don't really want to put my foot down. I want to move. I just like it's caught between us.
Yeah.
We know we've seen this happen before. We know it's going to go back down again. So I want to create a bit of space between myself and the truck, so there's less of a chance of hitting both of us.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
But I also want to, and this is going to sound really stupid, but ask Perry to put music up really loud in ours so it comes to us rather than them.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that sound silly? Or does that sound?
Well,
if it's attracted by vibrations, then
if they can do it in Star Trek, when
Did
they
they?
got the hive. Anyway, roll your
Well, sorry, I
pilots.
didn't know that.
So the last one, that it was a really good story until the ending when they put Bon Jovi through the speakers and wiped out the whole swarm. But I know what you're meaning. So roll your pilot skill.
Is that Star Trek Destiny?
It's the final one with who's the person who plays Jack Reacher as
Chris Pine. Oh,
Yeah.
The actor? The
Yeah.
actor?
yeah, Chris Pine.
yeah. It's in the last.
That's not Chris Pine. It's not Chris.
No,
Jack Reacher?
No, in the film.
Oh.
Oh no, Jack Reacher was Tom
No,
Cruise.
there's Tom Cruise, but then there's a TV show on Amazon.
No, what in Wills means is
Oh.
the guy that was Tom Clancy. Ben Affleck played him as well.
You're talking about
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
Ryan,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so roll your driving, your pilot.
Pilot.
Yeah, so you immediately to start to bring in some distance between you and the other vehicle, and you sort of like turn up the music as hard, whatever you listen to. It might be "Take Me Home," it might be a bit of
Yeah,
Don't
that's
you
it.
you
Exactly
know,
what we're listening to
To
right
the
now.
place.
yeah,
Don't you
and you sort of like
forget about me.
move off, and at that point, you hear over the communication Mort's voice.
Mortician.
He says he uses his free action to shout to the Dafters put in the chat, "Mountain Mama." So he shouts to the technician in charge of the Jeep. He says, "Get me to that worm now!" And he sort of like seems to lean out, and he takes a shot with his. He's just got a light blaster at the moment, so it's nothing significant, and he fires it off at the worm and actually does hit it, and hits it with his blaster. Let me just do D20 to see where it goes. Or he's going further up the body. It's whacks it with the blaster, but you see this shot go in, and it didn't seem to go through the armor, Hammond and Numen, at all. But you do hear him shout this to the technician, and then we go up to the top for turn 2. So you get your another action. The worm is now going down, and Hammond, it uses its 24 to reburrow. Hammond, you're up on 22.
I'm gonna use a free action to yell for Numen to wait till it opens its mouth.
So it comes up like this, with its mouth
Sorry.
open, and then it comes up, and then it closes, and it comes back down again.
But it doesn't do like an overarching.
Not unless it's caught somebody.
Got it. All right.
Then
Well,
it does.
never mind then. I'm gonna shoot it anyways.
Yeah.
I'm
Fire away.
gonna get me some worm guts on my clothing. Maybe. No.
No. Yeah. It zinks off. Numen, you're up.
You're like 1 point away.
I know. That's what's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I was literally
Got
1
some
point away.
sand on it, I bet. Like sprayed a little bit of sand.
Yeah.
Maybe aggravated, but
So my question here is, I was reading through full auto attacks with guns, which is what I would like to do, but the last time I did it, it was against multiple targets, and it says normally used for full-blown suppression fire to pin down multiple targets. But this is a big creature, and I only hit it in the tail, so I was I was wondering how that would work for like just shooting several times and trying to get a bunch of hits on its long body.
So what is the roll and the damage that it says for full auto? What do you actually do?
So for full auto, I evenly distribute the number of shells that I'm using among all the targets. And I was thinking targets in this case might be body targets.
Yeah, I
don't
think normally you couldn't use that, not even on a normal sandworm, but the pure size of this, you can probably do it. So do you do one hit roll, does it say?
It's a separate attack roll for each target, but at a difficulty grade of formidable due to the increased recoil effects of sustained fire.
Got ya.
Those targets who are hit suffer a random number of rounds as per burst fire. So if I have 3 shells per any given target, then that would mean I roll a 1d3 to see how many of those hits actually hit.
Got you. And how many rolls would you be using to go when you're going into full auto? How many shells is actually? Because I presume you're emptying your clip.
Yeah, you have to empty your clip, and anything that you don't empty is considered loss as you're going through.
So if you're doing 3 lots of 3, yeah. So how many lots of 3 are you rolling?
I have 7 shots, so I can only do 2 per.
Yeah. Okay then. So you're going to do 2 hits, 2 hit rolls. Is that right? And each 2 hit rolls going to do 3 rolls of damage.
Don't do 3 because you fire that one shot at the end. Or it has to be 3 shots.
If I do tail, middle, and head, or top half, or whatever, it would be D2 shots per hit, because I would total up to the 6, and I don't think I can put that 7th shell onto this.
No, and I think that's just one that you lose.
Yeah, so this full auto is actually best for me once I've shot 2 regular shots.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But so, I'm wanting to stop it before it launches up again, if I can.
So these rolls are formidable then, yeah?
Correct, which for me is a 40%.
Okay, and how many rolls are we having?
I do 3 rolls to see if I hit, and then for each of those I do a D2 to see how many damage rolls I do.
Okay then, so let's count them down. So this is roll number 1. Go for it.
Roll number 1. I am the law, and I have 2 luck points left.
That did work. Formidable. That's actually hit. Yeah. So that's that one. So let's do these as we fire them. So roll a 1d2 now.
All right. This is how many shells I get to slap on. Well, bam. Did it do it?
Yeah. 2. Okay. So 2 shells. So now roll a 1d20, and then we can do some damage. I think that one attaching it to its tail is probably not what happened, but we're just leaving it for now. Okay,
I'm just trying to unload shots here.
Yeah, so that's happened in its mid-length somewhere. So do some damage for that one.
So this would be 2 dice rolls then, right? Because it's 2 shells.
Yeah, if that's what full auto says, yeah.
Let me just double check it really quick.
Technically, it's 6 dice.
Roll separate location and damage for each round which hits.
Yes.
So this would be, I'd be rolling 6d6, but I can just roll them twice.
Yeah, just roll them twice, and that would be the... So that's 16 and 11. So that's what? 27. Ooh.
Yeah. Butchering.
Or 27. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the second shot then, or the second round of shots.
Second round of shots. Yeah. So this needs to be formidable.
I would like to use a luck point to reroll this one.
Yeah. Absolutely fine. Go for it.
No luck.
No. Oh, that would have been a good one for the first one if you did that.
I can't use a luck point to reverse that for him because you can't do the same thing twice, can you?
Yeah.
There you go.
Do that. Yeah. So
here is my final
round.
Good luck to me. Oh, no luck to me.
Hang on. Oh, well, if you do use your second point of luck, it will go to 26.
Yeah, I'm going to use my last point of luck.
Yeah.
Because I just want all of the numbers of damage. So here is my D20 for you.
No, D2 first. See how many.
Oh, right.
We could take 20. I'm quite happy to hit the head.
Yes.
Big money, big money.
Yes. Two of
Two.
them. So roll
Ooh,
your
okay.
damage twice.
Bloody worm.
And just to let you know, I think I'm right. If you roll it once, the lowest you can get is 2. Plus your damage modifier, whatever. That's right, isn't it? But if you
The
roll
lowest,
it, how many rolls do you? How
it's
many?
a 3d6
Yeah.
for damage.
So the lowest you can get with 3d6 is 3.
Yeah.
Okay. If you rolled 6d6s,
The lowest you can get is 6.
the lowest you get is 6. So is it better to roll it twice? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I just don't know if they are damages that stacks like that.
Yeah,
or
I
for
think
armor
it's better
purposes,
if we roll it separately in any case. So that is 19. Yeah.
20, 11, and 9.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
Gotta get all my numbers.
20,
This is how I prove my worth to my friends.
I made a lot of numbers today, guys. Oh, that's cool. That's nice.
Brilliant.
I don't know what you're talking
Okay,
about.
then.
But that's nice.
Yeah, Numen's just numbers.
good numbers.
Yeah. So are you done now?
Yes, that would be everything, and my shotgun is empty.
Okay, so you seem to have blasted completely off the tail section of the worm altogether. Your full auto and one of them actually managed to make enough gap through it to actually detach the lower segment of it, which is probably, it looks impressive, but it's not something that bothers this worm. However, what does bother the worm is the less damage but still significant headshot that did 20 points of damage. So that actually takes it down to a serious wound. Okay, so it needs to make its endurance check now to see what it actually does in response to it. So this is his endurance check. Yeah, so it's like it's still up. But it is severely handicapped now. Okay, so yeah.
Oh no, I just said okay.
Yeah, brilliant. So what it has to do now, because it's got its tail end virtually blown off, it can't actually do a sudden ambush anymore. It cannot go under the ground at all. So it's on the top, and you just like whacked it in its face. That took it down to -5 hit points, but it's still on its endurance roll, so it's still up. But at the end of this line, it's going to be on top of the sand. Minsk, you're up.
I am indeed.
You saw like here, Numen going.
And like a hook as it goes into it.
And you notice that every time he goes, he's getting knocked further back.
I want to try and take some evasive maneuvers because I know that Numen now has to reload.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to be too harsh to dislodge him.
So what you'll do therefore is that you'll delay your action if you wish.
That's right. No,
so when it comes to the worm attack on 24, you can then take your action to
move to evade.
Yeah. Okay then. So and Mort has the other Jeep has changed course with the people in the back and are heading straight for the worm. anybody who's there, you can see that Mort is hanging out the window. He seems to be shouting to the technician. You hear expletives, but also things like, you can put them together, things like out of work, if you don't do this, it'll be more than your life that you lose. It'll be your effing job, things like that. And he's obviously heading towards the worm. Okay, so on 24, up on top, it can't sudden attack anymore, but it can bite. And it's going to go for you, Minsk, because of the noise and everything that you said earlier on. So it has an unarmed attack that it's now going to use to try to bite you. Okay?
Human's gonna punch it.
Oh! Hey, actually, can I do something?
Yeah.
Can I use my point of luck to reverse that?
Oh,
100?
making me roll it.
Make him re-roll it.
Yeah, because you would have to re-roll a 1 because it doesn't have any.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
I can
re-roll it.
Yeah,
That was stealing his thunder there. That's an amazing roll.
It was. That was for how shitty its rolls have been. That's like the best case scenario.
Yes,
but I'm gonna reverse it.
You.
Yeah.
yeah. So I will roll it, and I do hit. So just to let you know, Minsk, I'm going to hit your car somehow. Your piloting skill is now determining almost like a parrying or an evasion.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to roll your piloting skill to see how much you get out the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay then. So you have a choice.
Is it opposed?
No, it's differential, just the same as a combat roll would be. Okay, so we look at degrees of success. So, for example, if I had kept my first one, I would have won and got a lot more. I would have got a special over you. Okay, but I'm going to give you a choice, Minsk. Okay, so you will know from combat that there's 2 things you can do. You can parry, which means that you might take half damage or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you can evade, but if you evade, you're
in
up
an awkward position. Yeah.
So this is what I'm going to offer you. Okay.
Can I have a third option?
Which
can I wake up at my base, my starport base? It's just a dream.
It's just a dream. So your choice is you can either just move out the way.
No, we are going to evade.
But hang on. If you evade, okay, you've pulled out the way and your car is stationary. So you...
Yes, I'm going to evade because I can move. Oh, that's meta. Can't believe I just did that. Yeah, I'm going to evade anyway because I would do that. I wouldn't take damage. I'd be trying to protect
so you
everybody in the car.
You severely move your car out the way as this creature sort of like goes into it. You sort of like spin your car off and it sort of like turns a bit, but it comes to a halt. It's totally stopped now. Hammond, you are up. What would you like to do?
I'm going to shoot its mouth.
Go for it.
Hopefully, because I have no more luck points, so hopefully it actually hit. Come on, baby. Give me some of that. No! No!
You know what? I was saving this for Mr. Pickles, but I can't give that because he's not hit once.
Are you going to use your other point?
Yes. Yeah, can we reverse that?
Okay. Yeah, let's reverse that, baby.
So I need a 1d20, and then I need some damage from you.
All right. 1d20. Come on, baby. Give me that 20. Give me it. No. It didn't.
Yeah. Okay then.
Well, it's all right.
Yeah. So you could do some damage.
All right. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. Not gonna stop me. I'm doing it. Right here. And Boom. 7.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that actually hits the section of the worm that was blasted off by Numen. So as it's sort of like breaking around, because remember, all this is 5 seconds that we're going through, you pepper it as well. You do get through the armor of it, but you know, it would have been a better shot if Numen hadn't have blasted it off beforehand. But if that can reanimate, then you've done enough damage to make it, to shear it straight off. It's no longer attached at all.
Nice.
Numen, you're up.
I'm gonna start reloading my shotgun.
What's your reload?
My load is 3.
So 3 turns that you have. So
Yep.
this is turn 1, and you need to. It's not like casting at the end of the third. You can attack.
3 turns.
It's 3 turns. So this is the first one up.
A bunch of shells to be manually loading into it. That makes sense.
So Numen, you're done. Minsky, you're up next.
Yes, I am going to gun the engines.
Okay,
and
so
again move away from this thing.
Yeah, so you start up the car on your action, and then you'll be ready to pull off on the next one. And as you see that, you spin your car around, and you see this sand worm going for you and missing. You then see Mort's Jeep coming flying across. He lets out a blaster shot, just to let you know he's 67 with
If
his
Bob Hillsfield,
blaster.
you will be happy.
And he does hit. Let me just
Kill him if he steals my kill.
He,
Hit him in the head with a hammer.
oh, that would be cool if he did. No, he doesn't. That hasn't been hit. He does 6 damage to halfway down its length, but it doesn't look like it's interested enough. Hi, old dog. Yeah, we're in the middle of combat. So that's Mort. So we come back up now to turn 2, combat round 2, turn 2, and the sandworm, after being whacked by the fastly approaching Jeep, turns round and tries to snaffle a shot and tries to bite it. It sort of like tries desperately to get hold of it, but misses air as the technician pulls it out, and as he sort of like pulls it round, and Mort's firing out of the window at it as it goes past him. And Hammond, you're up.
Do I have a clear shot?
The car's probably facing it, so you can access it through both, and plus it's quite big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go for another shot. I don't have an automatic mode on my blaster, right?
You don't have it. It's you don't have a suppressive fire or anything like that, I'm afraid.
All right, I'm gonna go with it. Jesus Christ, my rolls.
You hit a passing bird. You just plummets to the
Dinner.
Numen, you're up.
This would be turn 2 of load 3.
Yeah. Minsk, you are up.
So I'd like to
You're
move.
ready to move now, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to move. I'd like to kind of, oh God, I want to try to distract the thing by flying, by driving close to it as it's going towards this other vehicle.
Okay then. So
This is
if
stupid, but yes.
you can, it's ridiculous. So it's going to be a formidable roll for your piloting skill to get through that gap. Go for it.
You know what? Oh no, it's not, I can't. Oh, I'm going to re-roll that.
Okay, re-roll.
I need a 38, don't I?
Yeah.
In your face, worm god.
So you pass through it. You probably have to ease your hover car. I can imagine Numen's quickly reloading and looks at the gap and says, too small, too small, too small, just as Minx turns it at the last moment and flies by. What was your piloting roll?
21.
Okay, so I'm going to use my willpower to see whether or not I take you up on your thing. Yes, I do. Because your score is higher. So the worm will turn round to take a bite out of you. Of course, now Mort fires his blaster one last time. Hits. Oh, to his head.
Wow. He's going to steal you too.
To his head.
This is when he rolls a 1. Oh, no.
Oh,
7.
Nice.
Which actually 7, that would take it down to it's at -7, but its total hit points in that location is 10, and it's got 5 armor, so it does need to make another endurance roll at this point to see whether or not it succeeds or not. No, it doesn't succeed at all. And so with Mort's blast to its head, it obviously, he probably hits it right on the sensitive side, and the worm sort of like flops over. It's trying desperately to make its way underground, but with its lack of propulsion, because its rear end has been ripped off, it seriously can't make it at all, and it'll be quite easy for you all now to to dispatch it. And
I want Numen to have the killing shot.
And Mort turns around to you, Numen, as you sort of like stop your vehicles. He turns around to you and he says, "Thanks for the help, Numen. Thanks for the help. I got it in the end. But thank you. Well done for everything you did. Well done. You did a grand job there. But thank you for letting me take it down." And then he goes and poses for a picture. He says to Numen, "Would you like to be in?"
I don't need the fame.
He says, you can stand slightly behind me if you want.
Nope. I think you're the person that the viewers want to see.
Oh, yes, he says, I'm sure. And he says, I mean, you didn't weaken it much, but yeah, you did a grand job. Thank you for that. And he seems to be quite happy that not only... Hammond, roll perception. Your drone's perception is 50%. So let's see how happened it did.
Oh, I should do a 1d100 instead then?
Yeah, just do a 1d100 now.
Okay.
Let's see how good your pictures are. Yeah, you got some decent shots. You've probably also taken still shots, so you got a bit of MP4 footage of the fight from beginning to end, and probably some pictures of Hammond as well. And then sorry, Numen, you've just finished reloading, just to let you know just now. And yeah, the now that the spike head worm has been proved to exist, you actually get closer to Arid, the starport, and now that you're closer, the threat gets less and less and less. And eventually, after a couple of nights out, remembering to keep the any power cells off to prevent vibration, so you don't get attacked with crab mites, you make your way back to Arid. And there's a couple of things that I need to just finish off this session. Mort is willing to actually pay you to your wealth score, so you should have a wealth percentage somewhere. He will give you an extra 5% onto the wealth score. So did you add on the previous wealth score, or do you need that?
Yeah, I have a basis.
Yeah, but because I think was the negotiations done before the job?
Yeah,
That's
I don't remember us adding anything.
I don't
there, but
remember a score beforehand though.
okay then.
we were told that we were prepaid. At
Yeah.
least some of it.
So what you get is that for the Mince, did you manage to improve the roll? Did you roll your negotiation, your influence?
Just muted.
Very long time ago.
Super muted.
Sorry, mute. Yeah, sorry. No.
I just recall
30 Angel Bright.
I recall somebody saying that you had already been paid. That's what I was thinking, that it was.
5% for Benny. Oh, that's what we pay Benny, isn't it? Sorry for doing the meat.
I have noted that he haggled upwards. Like, I remember there was
some
some negotiation.
right.
Yeah, he gave us more than what we asked for.
I wrote that down because I was like, what is wrong with this strange?
Yeah, he was just offering more and more money, wasn't he?
So
yeah, but I don't think we the wealth score.
Therefore, he will. He's quite generous to you, so he'll give you a total of 15%. That's with your 5% added on, so that's 10%.
Plus 5.
And then, so you get 15 altogether. And he's very keen to stay in contact with you. And so would anybody like to keep him as a friendly contact after?
You know what? I think that James would like to shoot himself in the head first.
Okay, so I take that as a no. Mort sort of like hands out his cards or his communication links and sort of like sends you his details to all your communication links over the Wi-Fi, and sort of like wishes you luck and says that if he's back in the system, he will sort of like he will call on you again and will be very keen to actually employ you again and be your patron, or Mr. Johnson. The only other thing that happens, just to let you know, that I've decided to give you experience points, but experience rolls, but deduct things or add things according to what happened. So if Mort or Lucy May had died, you would have had -2 to your experience rolls, because that technically is what you were going to do. But for example, if you recognize that it was the vibrations from the power units in the initial camp that was bringing on the mic crabs, that would have given you an extra 2. And I don't expect you to know that. I don't know if you can remember, but I asked you to make an insight roll to see if you could figure it out. So I'll top that up and give you them. So there's actually going to be 12 experience rolls. Okay, that's how many you're going to get. But there's something else that I just want to tell you about before we finish the session. When you get back and you've seen Mort off and you're sort of like recovering, you notice that once you get back into Arid, there's an email in your inbox, Minsk, from Benny. And he sounds really puzzled, because he says that a package has arrived for you and your group, although he presumes it's for everyone, but it's your name on the front. You naturally ask where it came, and it just came from a standard delivery drone that came out. It came from off-world, You don't know where from, but it came off world and then was handed, and it was try to deliver to your shipping unit. And when it got no answer, then the next port of call for it was Benny. So that had been programmed into the delivery series instructions. And when you get it, inside there is like a USB flash drive, a data chip. And there's just sort of like, it's in a padded envelope. There's just one data chip. But what's more intriguing than that is that on the front, there is an handwritten, which seems very irregular in this day and age, a handwritten label telling it where to go and what to do with it. And that itself is not all that peculiar. But the peculiar thing is, Hammond, that it's your handwriting. It's your handwriting on the envelope. So, and you have no recollection of doing this at all.
Or sending it.
But and then inside, there is just one singular data chip and nothing else.
I reckon Hammond's got an evil twin.
Just before we leave this adventure, just out of interest, Hammond, you got some footage of this. Are you keeping that, or are you publicizing it, or what?
I want to see what kind of bids we get.
Yes.
I want to so I'll go to like media outlets and whatnot, say, hey, I got some interesting thing of see what you try to go for the highest bidder.
Do you have a commerce role?
Hold on a second. I don't know. Yeah, I do actually. I have, yeah.
Okay, so
because I knew I was going to be buying a lot of things. I think that's when I was doing character creation.
So what we'll do next session, we'll look at that. So yeah, and you can think about what you want to do with this note and data chip. You are all aware of it, and of course you've got your 12 experience rolls. So I like to start you off with quite a bit so you can get your skills up a little bit. Yeah. Maybe Hammond put a bit into blaster.
But my blaster's bad. This is very bad. I'll put a little bit, I guess. I was wondering before they leave Mort and his crew, if I can give my communication information to the crew, like, kind of just kind of give like a note each or something, just in case they decide they want to change jobs.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to give it to all of them, or do you want to send it to the
technicians?
No, the technician that had a chat with you, the 20-year-old. You want, or do you just want to send it to all of them?
I'll give it to the technician. Say, hey, if you have anyone else in mind, feel free to bring them through.
Yeah, and you probably give them some. You probably give the lads some kind of data chip card or something like that, because remember, they're all on the same communication system as Mort. So if you actually broadcast it to them all, then they would actually recognize.
Mort would know.
So and I have to say this, due to Numen emptying a clip of.
That was inspired.
It was inspired, and taking it down. Without that, I think you would have been there a little bit longer. And if it hadn't been taken down by Mort, by the way, it would have attacked their jeep next.
No.
And that could have been lethal.
It was almost lethal to us.
Yeah.
That one roll.
The other thing, just to let you know, if it had come up underneath your car and survived a sudden ambush roll, then your car would have been flipped, and you would have taken a certain amount of damage to random hit locations. Okay, so I would be rolling, depending how successful I was, rolling a 1d6. If it was a critical, a 1d8, and then I would roll d20s, and you would take that d6 damage to all those locations. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that would be as you're battered around the car and the car flips and things like that. And if it hit the Jeep, okay, it would have thrown all the trailer out. You know, so they would have been taking a lot more damage at that point. So
Yeah, of interest, what would have happened if it rammed us like it was going to?
it wasn't going to, it would bite you then.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Okay, so
same sort
it
of
would
thing.
come straight at you and actually close its mouth around your hover car.
Oh,
And then it would have done damage as per that would be stopped by your armor first. And then if that didn't, once your armor was stopped, the rest would have come down into your actual internal systems.
oh, yeah.
And then if it goes down to half your hit points of your car, then items start to malfunction. So I just roll 1d6 and say whatever it comes up on the table, that is no longer working. Or that is, so for example, it could grab onto you, go down to half, and it could take out your maneuverability or your sensors or anything like that. And one of the options, it would roll, if your cockpit malfunctioned, that would mean that you're exposed to the air and there's no, so if it was on a vacuum planet, then that would be a lot worse.
Yeah, fatal.
Yeah, unless you were wearing suits, you know, like not suits as in Gucci.
Yeah,
like,
You know, yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. So well done. Yeah. And one thing I really love about this game is that, and I sent it into Discord, I have no idea what you're going to do. No idea at all. And I quite like that because it keeps me as a GM on my toes, you know. And so what I do now is just sort of like do the bare bones of the adventure, because I have no idea what you're going to do. But that I do think without that full auto, Numen, I think the battle would still be going on. But luckily, Mort finished it off for you, and he in the end saved you all from a nasty death. And
Digesting inside of.
I'm glad we took away his launcher, because his grenade launcher would have killed us, especially against this thing. He would have shot us instead of the worm. And he's like, oh well, that damn worm and his explosive grenades.
Just to let you know, here's in the notes. It just reminds me that it's a simple sentence that says he will do anything for the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anything
for him.
Yeah. Everything.
He's not captain.
Yeah, and you all were totally dispensable.
Oh yeah.
You know, he had no worries about killing his technician. The only person that he wouldn't kill is Lucy May, his personal assistant.
I think he probably would kill her.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he would. He'd dislike it. He'd be bummed out, but he'd be like,
I think he would want to find a better one first.
There's plenty more Lucy in the tree.
Yeah. You know, if it was something else. So yeah. So by the next time we play, we'll run M space again for the next adventure. So think about your experience points. Also think about what you want to do with the social media tapes about the worm. Think about that, and also think about what you would like to do with the note and the data chip. And just to let you know, you probably all know that it's there. It's not something that sort of like come through. It's secretive. So yeah, well done. Some really heavy combat there. I feel that if Numen had to empty his whole clip into something that I should have had two.
Numen needs a backup weapon.
Yeah.
Identical to his
revolver's
first
my
weapon.
He has a revolver.
You need 2 shotguns, one on each shoulder.
Yeah, across that you can go.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'll have 2 shotguns. I'm fine
Send me
with
some
that.
ideas. Send me
We
ideas.
all know now you can
I'll
do-
tinker. I'll do some
You
tinkering.
can cock them, can't you? Go 2 hands.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I need silly ammo. I need silly ammo from Hammond.
You do.
Grenades, fireballs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of.
The
Now, but that's
the
probably
knockout bullet.
once you get to a higher tech planet, then those would be more readily available. But
High X.
through the black market,
Yeah.
You
No, I
wouldn't-
will.
you wouldn't be able to go into the shop and say, "Can I have, you know, 2 of those, 3 of those, and a pint of milk, please?" You know.
Welcome to Space Costco.
What? Sorry.
I said, welcome to
Wait.
Space Costco. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
a grocery store place. You get
Brilliant.
bulk
With,
stuff.
with shotguns.
So
Yeah,
well done.
shotguns.
That was a perfect time. You managed to kill it dead on time. So thank you if you've been watching us tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got a feel of how the game works, but also how brilliant the players can interact with the game and take the lead and come up with their own ideas. So it's never linear at all. It's actually quite non-linear. Okay, I will be back tomorrow morning with some Stardew Valley at 9 o'clock and then some ESO in the afternoon. Medivac, are you playing D&D on Thursday?
Not this Thursday, no, sadly. We've got men down.
Oh, no. But
GM's down, let's put it that way.
yeah. So just so you know, if D&D 5th edition is your kettle of fish and you would like to see some excellent gameplay, then Medivac usually streams it on a Thursday night.
Thursday, 7:15 normally.
7:15. So it will be on next Thursday, but
It
keep
will
an
be
eye-
on the Thursday after, yes.
Thursday after, and you can always go back and look at the reruns. Are they on YouTube or
We've
not?
got with YouTube, yes. There's 35 at the moment.
Brilliant. So if you stick the YouTube link into the Discord, then people can grab it from there, or if you've got it already, just pop it into the chat.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I don't, Captain and Mr. Pickles, are you in any games that are being streamed?
I have nothing to report.
Nothing.
Yeah. And not yet a streamer.
Right, that's brilliant. So I'll let you two go back to your rednecks, and
Thank you. Thank you.
Medivac, you can go back to your food or Master Chef or whatever.
Master Chef. Yay.
Yeah. Okay, and I will see you tomorrow. And until then, Browix, shout out to Kangaroo's beautiful hair.
Thank you, my man. Thank you.
I'm just waiting for you to give it a swish.
Hold on. Let me help you out.
Yeah.
And 10 for men.
But yeah. Thank you. Good night, everyone. And from now on, I'll see you all next time. Until then, it's good night from me. Good night, and it's goodbye from them.
Goodbye.
Bye. Yeah.
Goodbye,
I'm
everybody.
just going to go. I'm just trying to.